What we do here is go back.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Monday, September 25th, and I am super excited because I got all caught up on editing vlogs, and I have 1 minute before the bell rings. But I just want to say a quick hello because I'm super excited. This week is going to be great. I got my hair cut. You can't even tell, but it's undercut, so it feels really good. This week I think is going to be pretty easy, and knock on wood. I think this week can go really smoothly. Okay, I have to go. I'll talk to you later. Well, it's afternoon now. It's 12:53 and my conference is almost over and I have way too much work to do. As always, I updated this morning my weekly checklist, and I am going to try real hard to stick to it. Last year it was amazing, and I had a video last year, if I remember. I will link it. But last year it got to the point where I was so on top of things, like it really helped my sanity, because just to make sure that I stuck to everything for that day made me get ahead in some ways, and it let me leave at good times. So I am doing really good in terms of getting things done. I still haven't done everything for today because I had some discipline issues to deal with, and in fact at the beginning of my conference, part of my job is to monitor in hallways, and there's one classroom where there's a sub who comes in for 5th period, and so I had to make sure the door gets unlocked for him. And while I was doing that, 2 boys were punching each other. Now, they were not, like, I could tell they weren't trying to be malicious or have a full-on altercation, but they were very clearly punching each other and shoving each other. And knowing these 2 boys, horseplay is a problem for them, and this was extreme horseplay. So I pulled him aside, I took him to the assistant principal's office, and then we waited for like 5 minutes for him to get back from the cafeteria where he had duty, and I had to wait. It used up so much of my time, and finally got there, and the assistant principal and I kind of talked for a second, and then he was like, okay, he sent the boys back to class, I wrote them referrals, and he's gonna take care of it, and I've already submitted the referrals right now, so it's just out of the way. So that's what's going on with me. Another thing I heard, and I don't have time to talk to the counselor right now, but so I was telling you last week how, I think it's Thursday, I had another problem child be put in my 8th period, and that was going to be doable, and then I just saw today when I was updating grades that he got put in my 3rd period. So that would be okay if he was independent and did his work, but I can't let him do Art 2 stuff, because it's not fair to those Art 2 kids in that class who are great and amazing and have really earned it. And he's just going to be distracting to my SPED kids in that class, like. And I don't know why they changed the schedule again. It's only been 2 days. I don't know. I need to talk to the counselor and see what's going on there, because I need to really figure out, if I knew more like what his goals were and what problems he's having, I could really help him, I think. But I just don't know. I don't know. The other thing I need to do are these beautiful things. They are accommodations for our SPED students, and for most students there's no accommodations for electives, although they do still need them, and I kind of give them a personalized education for all the students anyways. Thought I heard something. But we got an email, it's like, this is required, you need to have documentation, and I was already planning on using my documentation for my lesson plans for that, but now I'm kind of like, I really shouldn't do that. So what I need to do tonight is, actually I may be able to do it this afternoon sometime if I get my lesson plans done, is I need to get this all filled out for the student, and then these are all the accommodations, so I need to mark which accommodations they have. And so once I have that, then I can do a copy for each week and then go through and check off what we were doing, what accommodations was given each day. And then on the back, there are notes for the SPED teachers, which I haven't had any come in, but this needs to get done. And in fact, now that I think about it, it doesn't have to be done today. It's not due till Friday. Just so much going on. And then I realized there's another meeting I need to go to tomorrow, so there's like 3 things I need to do after school tomorrow. Really 4, but one of them I think I'm going to cancel the electives meeting. Anyways, I have used up 7 minutes of my time, and I am going to go and actually get some work done. I'll see y'all this afternoon. I had an afternoon. It was bad. I lost my patience. I just really was not the teacher I want to be. Like, that feeling I had at the end of last week, I didn't have that. You can even see, like, I have paint up and down my arms. Like, I didn't even have time to clean paint off myself. And I don't know if it really was the kids, but 6th period just did not do any better with their volume. I told them, I was like, we gotta control our volume. You have 2 strikes. You're about to lose your privilege for Friday. 7th period was fine. Just had one kid who normally works just fine, kept playing around and joking around, and it reminds me I need to call his mom because he earned that consequence. Although I really don't want to do it right now. I'd rather call tomorrow. And then 8th period was a disaster. So I was out of patience, and beginning of 8th period, I didn't get a chance to check warm-ups because I was walking one of my 7th period students down the hall to her class to make sure her teacher knew that she wasn't late because she was helping me clean. She was trying to be responsible, but she ended up being tardy. So I was walking her down there just to make sure she didn't get marked tardy because she was really helping me, and that's what made her late. So I have everything ready for tomorrow, and I'm mixed right now. I kind of just want to leave. It's 4:26. I kind of just want to leave and go do my stuff at home and just forget about it and relax tonight. But then on the other hand, like, I still feel motivated. I still want to get my things done for today. And I think I'd feel really good if I did that. I think what the compromise will be, let's say till 4:45, and then I'll leave. So I'm gonna do that, and I will check in with y'all tomorrow, I guess. Yeah. Alright, it is a little after 5, and I'm heading out. Just wanted to check in and let y'all know that I'm doing much better. I just had a moment of and was kind of down on myself a little bit because it just didn't go how I wanted it to, but I was able to at least get everything cleaned up, and my desk is nice, and was able to make a few notes, and I'm all prepared for tomorrow, which is good. And I was able to do everything on my checklist except the lesson plans? Yeah, lesson plans, that's what it was. But I already have in my head planned out what needs to happen, and I did my my overlook for the week, so lesson plans should be pretty easy when I get to them. I just didn't get to them today, so not the end of the world. I'm gonna go home and run, and that should help a whole lot better, and tomorrow will be a better day. Oh, good morning. It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday, September 27th, and I am tired. So, I missed vlogging yesterday. I just slipped my memory. slipped my memory throughout the day, and then at the end of the day I kind of thought about it, and then I was in a rush to leave. Just had a bunch of things to do at home, and sorry. But to recap yesterday, let's take care of that right now. Yesterday, Art 1 was just painting their portraits. A lot of them were not done with their color wheels, but I had already given them an extra day, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to take your color wheel and give you a grade, and if you need to make it up later and we have time, we can, but we need to move on because I already am bumping their next project by a day already, and I don't want to get too much in the habit of doing that. So they're just painting, they're finished drawing their portraits and they're painting them, and that's going really well so far. Although my 8th period did not get to do that. There was a big rainstorm that came in towards the beginning of 8th period as the kids were transitioning from between 7th and 8th, and there's a lot of lightning, and so the principal didn't want kids outside, and so we held them in 7th, and then didn't really stop pouring rain outside, which, by the way, pouring rain is a problem for us, even though it's not that dangerous, because we have kids who have to go outside to go to different classes. I would have been okay with switching halfway through and still having that class, but we ended up just staying in our 7th period rooms all 8th period yesterday. And so my 8th period might be a little bit behind. We will see. We will see if they can catch up. I think they can. But, yeah, that was not fun. It was okay for a little while, but I really just didn't have anything for them to do, and there's a reason why we have an 8-period schedule, because they just kind of lose interest in, like, it helps keep them going if they change classes every hour. And yeah, I mean, I had my good kids even complaining, and I wasn't letting them go to the bathroom, I wasn't letting them get water. I was just like, no, we are going to stay here until they tell us we can go. And because I didn't really know when, like, if we were going to ever switch, I put on some art videos from YouTube. I have a few channels that I always go to in times like this, and they lost interest after a while, and they didn't want to do any. I mean, I tried to offer other things for them to do that were just like little fun, silly things, and they didn't want to do it, and so that was Art 1. Art 2, they were just continuing to work. I'm going to give them I'm bumping their next project by a day too, because I'm giving them another work day today. There's just way too many people who aren't done. There are only like maybe 3 or 4 people who are completely done, and there's a lot of people who need a lot of time. And there's a lot of people who probably won't even finish today, but I need to at least give them a chance, and that'll at least give them enough to get an okay grade. But that's R2, R3. Yesterday, we just kind of had a makeup day, which worked pretty well, because there were some kids who needed to do makeup work for me, and so that got them passing. They did that, and then there's a lot of kids who had work from other classes, and I even told them on Monday, to bring makeup work yesterday from their other classes, and they didn't, but at least they said they had a plan. Like, most of them, they did work after school on Monday, or they were going to do it yesterday. So, yeah, but I ended up giving them choices. They made, I can't grab them because it's student artwork, but they put together their little pyramids from, I'm talking a long time. They put together their little pyramids from their elements principles, so I can hang those up. The Art 3 ones turned out good. The Art 2 cubes, not that good. They're not good enough to hang up, so we will see. But they did that, and then after that they had a choice. I pulled up the Inktober prompts, and they could either do one of those, or they could help set up bulletin boards, and of course they wanted to help set up bulletin boards. So we got all of my bulletin boards set up yesterday. There's artwork all over the school right now, which is great, so that means that's good for another month. Okay, I'll check in with y'all later. Hello. It is currently 12:41, and I have 30 minutes left in my conference. Okay, so to update you this morning, it has gone well. It has gone well. very blessed that even with just about all of my students there, all 29 of them, their third period, it went well today. Tomorrow, I'm not sure how that's going to go because people are finishing their projects. But I was a little scared because I know today my two problem kids that got put in that class were both going to be there today for the first time, but they did fine. I'm surprised they got along so well. I didn't realize they got along so well, but that's great. That's awesome. That's doing fine. It just, like, when a handful of kids finished early, and so they're kind of getting a little loosey-goosey because they only had 10 minutes left, and I gave them something to do, and they worked on it for a few minutes, and they didn't quite, excuse me, I just finished lunch. They didn't quite stay engaged with it, but overall it did fine. In my advisory, I have my homeroom kids Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they have been kind of a tough class in some ways. Looking back at the vlogs, like, they were great the first week of school, but once we have gotten deeper into the social emotional learning lessons, not quite as much. So what I decided to do today, since I already had everything prepared for it, after we were done with the lesson assigned for today, to go ahead and start the lesson for Friday. And that worked well. That kept us busy the whole time. And we even got into a good conversation at the end, and so that's going to roll on to Friday, and then I think I'll just figure out some kind of game or something we can play after that on Friday, and if that works really well, that's just what I'm going to start doing, because it's really hard to pull them, like, it's like pulling teeth with them. And I think the other thing I need to do is just kind of plan out a little bit more detail what we're going to do each day, at least each week. Like, just have a routine. On Mondays we do this, Tuesdays we do this, Fridays we do this, and have that good to go. Or, yeah, something like that. But everything's going pretty good so far. Art 3. Oh, I introduced 3-point perspective. And 3-point perspective is very complicated, and my star amazing student in that class, I think this is the first thing I've ever given her that was challenging. And so, and academically in her core classes, she's kind of low, especially in reading. She's not categorized as it, and there's not required accommodations we have to give, but she's dyslexic a little bit. And she just struggles so much with reading and remembering and comprehending what's happening. And then in math, she has trouble thinking abstractly, so it was kind of tough. And today she was just really confused about all the lines and things. And I talked her through it, and I even sat there with her and guided her as we did the 3-point perspective practice, because she was struggling so much with it. And she was able to do it when I was there, but that's not the same as her doing it on her own and her actually learning it. And so I asked her at the end, okay, so what was the most complicated part? Like, tell me what we need help with. And she was like, the lines. Like, I wish there was just one point. You did this, and it was easy. And I was like, well, but that's not 3-point perspective. And then I realized later that her and then my other really good student who also struggled with it, they were both in Art 1 last year. And so they didn't even get 2-point perspective, which is really complicated. So, but all my other kids who got 2-point perspective knew it just fine. And one of my students, there's even that one student I have who has not even taken art yet. I'm just going to have him do 1-point perspective, because he could barely do 1-point perspective when I was guiding him. Like, he struggles with using a ruler. He's just way behind, and on top of that, he just kind of like his head was like it's floating off in space. Like, he has trouble focusing, comprehending, remembering, just overall struggles. He's one of those that's kind of in between, that there's no paperwork for him, there's no accommodations, but he really should be getting accommodations, because he needs it. And not just in art. I know in art there's a big deficit because he's never taken art before, but I've heard from his other teachers too, he struggles in the areas that he should already know. He has so much trouble. So that's what's going on today. This afternoon we're just continuing working on our projects, and so far so good. I keep there's students walking that way, so that's why I keep looking that way. There's a sidewalk about 20 feet that way. But yeah, so far so good. I have lesson plans. I need to meet with my mentee. What else do I need to do? I need to do... Kids are distracting. Oh, I got this in the mail. 20% off. Which is awesome because I'm about to do an order. Oh, I need to do sped paperwork. I need to do my accommodations checklist. I also have to get a list to our sped teachers about who of my students, which period, get accommodations for oral, meaning that when they get a test, they have to be read to. But I never do tests, and I even confirmed with principal. I was like, do you really want me to do this? Because I never do tests. And she's like, yeah, just in case. It's like, okay. I have to do it. So that's what's going on. I'm gonna go do all that stuff, and I'll probably check. I keep yawning. I'll probably check in with y'all later. Well, good afternoon. It is the end of the day. It's about 5:30. I'm about to leave. Just wanted to give y'all an update to let you know how this afternoon went. It went pretty darn well. Pretty darn well. My 8th period did great, even though they lost a day yesterday, like I was saying yesterday, or earlier. I said that earlier. And I still need to talk with a lot of them about some missing work, but we'll do that tomorrow. Grades aren't due till Monday, so we are good there. But everything went well. My talk with my mentee went extremely well. Sometimes, and it may just be because he's a young guy, just graduated from college, but sometimes I feel like it's hard to talk to him in a way. It's hard to, I feel like I don't quite, we're still working on that connection and working on communicating. And sometimes interactions with him, maybe when he's annoyed or something, it just seems like yesterday we had this little interaction. It just seemed a little unprofessional in a way, like he was just like this little kid and I was his supervisor instead of us as equals in many ways. So I don't know, but we had a great conversation, and there's a few things. It was almost like a venting session. He came and we talked about it. I gave him some ideas, reassured him. I showed him Todoist because he was saying that one thing that kind of stresses him a lot is just keeping on top of things. Our admin this year has been really persistent about us turning things in on time, like when we had to do paperwork. Which, by the way, I did my sped paperwork, at least what was due today. And I worked on the stuff that's due Friday afternoon. But, and so that's why I recommended to him Todoist. Instead of just keeping it up here, use Todoist. And I showed him all the different systems that I use, which is a lot. But I recommended to him to just and I recommend that to anybody, have some kind of system where you keep track of everything. Because even if it's redundant, even if you don't really need it, it is super helpful for the occasional time you completely blatantly forget something important. It has happened to me before. And I have multiple things I do simply because depending on the circumstance, it may be easier for me to write it on my checklist. It may be easier for me to enter it into Todoist on my computer. Or if I'm at home, I'll send myself an email. Especially now because I don't have my work email on my phone, so I send it from my personal email to my work. And just things in place that I'll notice. The other thing I used to do that works for a lot of people is write sticky notes. And I had a place, I would put them on my clipboard or I put them on my computer, had places where I would put them. And so that's kind of what we talked about. We talked about some students and some things. It was a very, very good conversation. And I... just by chance, because I left my door open, some students kind of walked in and said hi, and his interactions with students were really good. He's doing such a good job. And now I haven't observed his classroom yet, but I'm impressed. He is doing so great, so great. But yeah, I'm going to go home. I am going to go home and enjoy my evening. It is my day off of running, which will be great. I'm not totally ready for tomorrow. I just need to prep for Art 2, but Art 2 right now is after my conference. So tomorrow I'm going to prep during my conference because I don't have too much to do terms of tasks tomorrow. That's the other good thing. I am on top of my checklist for this week. It is so exciting. I am liking having everything crossed off, and it just feels good to know that my classroom is being maintained, which is awesome. Other good news too, speaking of that, my thing for Wednesday was to clean out and restock the colored pencil and marker boxes. And the marker boxes were like 90% good. The pencil boxes are maybe like 70% good, but the marker boxes being that great was super helpful. And there were only a few markers that were running out. And so that was so awesome. I was like so impressed because normally it's like totally messed up. And when I fix it, it only lasts for like a day or two. So that was awesome. Yay. Like I said, I'm going to go home and I'll see you tomorrow.
Rain, rain, go away. Come again some other day. Hello, little friend.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. The week is almost over. Let's get this day started. Hey, it is the end of the day, and I am walking down to get my copies, and there's no one here right now. So, this afternoon went really well. Excuse my keys. This afternoon went really well. No major... I always think I'm hearing somebody. I'm going crazy. No major problems. Lots of easy redirections. Sixth period did pretty good. They're really talkative, and tomorrow they're not going to get their reward. And yeah, I can't quite decide on that. Okay, I got my copies. I had a great afternoon. Like I was trying to say, sixth period was talkative. See, seventh period did okay. They do not do a very good job of paying attention while I am introducing a project. I am not sure what's going on there because they started off the school year really good. But we got through it, and a lot of what worked for several of them is to give them a final warning. Just say, this is your last warning, and that helped for a few of them. And some of them were complaining about the color theory video I watched. I showed them because it was talking really fast and it was giving them like tons of content, which they didn't need all of it for their worksheet, but it kept them on their toes. And then that gave them. But it gave them all their answers. Like I looked at their papers, their color wheel worksheets, like it went with the video, and it went really well. But that kind of made them think and use their brain and pay attention. So that worked out well. Eighth period did extremely well because today was their last day to paint, and most of them are needed more time. Or not most, but some could have used more time. But because it was the last day, they were rushing, and it really made them focus. And they were cracking me up so much. I was sitting at my desk, and there is a couple boys sitting at the table right near my desk, and I was just sitting there. I was working on a project because everybody was focused and working, and I didn't want to interrupt them. I just wanted to give them their work time. So I was just sitting there working on my own little project, and a couple of the boys kept cracking jokes and just saying silly things. I even attempted to record it. It didn't work. Probably couldn't have used the clips anyways, but it was just so darn silly, and I was just cracking up constantly. It was hilarious. And so that really put me in a good mood. And I didn't laugh, by the way, by cracking up, I didn't laugh at them. It was all in my head. But it was so funny. Oh, it was just awesome. But I couldn't quite get any quotes from my quote book, but it was funny. It was funny, and now it's pretty late, but I got my work done. I got stuff cleaned off. My copies are all of those SPED worksheets. I got one period put together, which is my largest group of SPED kids. So I'm going to go fill those out tonight so I can file it tomorrow. And then tomorrow I'll do my other periods, which each only have like 2 or 3 kids. So that shouldn't be bad at all. But yeah, I'm going to go take care of all of this, and Oh, I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, that was fun. Oh my gosh. Good morning. Happy Friday. Happy Friday before a 3-day weekend. Which actually is just a 3-day weekend for me because I on Monday am going to, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I am going in to basically a physical therapy office to get a running assessment. Not that I'm having any problems with running right now, but just as a proactive preventative measure, I'm going to go in and get a running assessment. So that means I'll have sensors and things all on me and cameras watching me as I run on a treadmill, and they will kind of assess and see if there's anything odd about my technique, such as I'm stepping in an odd way, or how I'm putting pressure on my feet, or how I'm moving my arms, things like that. They're just going to assess and see if there's anything I'm doing that could cause injury down the line. Since I'm training for a marathon, I don't want to take any risk. And then on top of that too, we'll talk about shoes, just in general, because I need new shoes. I have about 500 miles on my shoes right now, and that's about their limit. Those shoes only lasted me 6 months. But anyways, today is going to be a good day. Art 1, the starting typography collage, which I have some videos. I will link to that project. I presented it at a conference a handful of years ago. And I've just do it every year since then because it's such a great project, and it's something that I came up with on my own. I was so proud of myself my first year when I came up with that. And then over the years I've kind of developed the lessons, made it more detailed, so it works. It's a great project. So we're doing that with Art 1. Art 2 is just finishing up the rough drafts for warm versus cool. I'm going to give them the option of using oil pastels and watercolor resist, or using tempera paint and using layering and value. And the reason why I'm giving them options is purely because a lot of them really are like dying to paint, and I don't know when their next painting project's going to be, because after this one is 2-point perspective. So I'm just going to give them the choice, and I know some of them like detailed in different things and we've never used oil pastels before, so I'm just going to let them choose. I've done that in my first period. My Art 2 students there are ahead of the Art 2 class in a way, because so they've already kind of started this, and I gave them that choice and they were doing good. Yeah, and the Art 3 Art 3 is just having a work day for their 3-point perspective, and it's going really, really well. I don't remember if I said it. Excuse me, eyebrows. I don't know if I said it, but so the first day I introduced it on Wednesday, I had quite a few students struggle, and it was the first time I'd given some of them something hard to do, something that was a challenge. And I thought I'd have to come in yesterday and kind of alter what we were doing a little bit, because it was so struggled and my star students were struggling with it. And I thought, if they're struggling with it, like maybe this is just a little too much. But they came back yesterday and were really working on it and doing well. Even one of my sped students in there, who normally needs guidance, he just is a little off in space just a little bit. He was able to figure it out. I just had my one student who has never taken art before, he just couldn't really do, he can't do perspective. He can barely use a ruler. So I gave him the sheet to do 1-point cities, and he didn't really do it. And he kind of did it, but he just doesn't understand the rules of perspective. And he's in Art 3. I mean, he should be okay. But anyways, that's the bell, and I gotta go. So I'll check in with you later. Almost 1 o'clock. And lunch was good. Lunch was a luncheon provided by our parent-teacher association. and it was pretty good. As usual, they don't have that great of vegetarian, and they have like no vegan options, but I always find something, and I'm not terribly picky. For example, the beans had bacon in it, so I just picked the bacon out, and I'm fine with things like eggs and potato salad, so that was pretty good. It was at least nice that I didn't have to cook last night because I finished all the rest of the food that I made for myself this week. At first, when I prepped my food on Sunday, I thought I made too much, but apparently I didn't make enough because I think I was eating a little bit too much. We'll find that balance. So far, classes are going good. Third period was doing like perfect, and then we had a fire drill. And I was trying to be super stern with them to get them to like do it right the first time, and they did okay. My class did way better than most of the other classes that were out there. They were not forming lines, they were not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and I also forgot to have rosters. So I need to print my rosters and put it over there in my emergency bag. Yeah, I totally forgot about that part, but that's okay. I knew all my kids I had were there, so that's fine. So yeah, that was interesting because, well, it worked out nicely because I knew the kids would end up having like 15 extra minutes in class because first period kind of did. The first period hasn't had much time to do golden pencil, so it gave them that at least, but third period has had time, so they, it kind of killed some of that time. But when we got back, they got a little crazy and had to have the conversation with one kid, and I don't remember what it was called, but there was a nightclub fire way back, maybe like 10 years ago. It was an old nightclub, didn't have proper entrances and exits, nothing was like labeled for fire exits, things like that, and I think it was like 100 and something people died because people were panicking. And this one kid was like, he wasn't panicking, but he was kind of freaking out, playing around as he got out, going a little crazy. So I was like really sharing with him, like, that is not how you act in fire drill. You know better. He's a 7th grader. You know better. Like, there was this nightclub one time where there was a fire and people were panicking when they got out, and they're freaking out and going crazy. Over 100 people died because they couldn't get out. So what's going to happen if there's a real fire? Like, and he was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But I ended up with a positive because that kid has been super impressive with me this year. He's one of my problem children. And as I told him, I was like, you've been super impressive to me. Like, you've been doing really good this year. You can do it. I know you can. He's like, yes, ma'am. It's like, okay, go back in, continue to impress me. Go. And he did. Came back in, sat quietly, did his work. So that was interesting. Fourth period went fine. Their cities are coming along great. Some of them are going to be amazing. Several kids have already said they're super proud of themselves because it looks really cool. So I'm definitely going to do that project again next year. So that's going well. Told you about lunch. Then, disappointingly, the whole reason why I'm taking Monday off was to go to a running assessment. Told you all about it yesterday. Well, I talked to the lady, so I remember what it's called now, physiotherapy. The physiotherapy office decided, and it isn't even finalized. She told me the person hadn't even signed the paperwork yet to make it official. But starting next week, supposed to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're renting out their running lab. And so they can't have any appointments. And they only had 2 appointments that they had to reschedule for next week. Mine and somebody else's. And I was like, y'all already confirmed this? It's been scheduled for over a month. This is very unprofessional to cancel at the last minute. And it's not even confirmed yet, so you're still just canceling with me? Like, this is very unprofessional. And I told her, I was like, I can't come. Like, I'm an hour and a half from your office, and y'all's latest appointment's at 4:30, and I have to take a whole day off. I'm taking the whole day off on Monday to come, and now y'all can't see me. Like, this is ridiculous. And I told her, she was like, well, how can we accommodate you? And I was like, well, unless you have a late evening appointment, the earliest I could get there would be 6:30. I can't come. She's like, well, our latest appointment's at 4:30, blah, blah, blah. It was just so frustrating because she kept saying over and over again, oh, we're going to be accommodating. We'll definitely honor the special. It was only $75. Like, we'll definitely honor it. And whenever you can come, we're not canceling, we're rescheduling. I was like, no, you're not. Like, you can't just do this. And I told her, I was like, I'm not going to be recommending y'all to anybody because this is very unprofessional. this is not cool, and wish y'all the best. Bye. And honestly, I was mad because I'm using a day off, and it's been 5 weeks. I could probably use a day off. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm wasting one of my days off. Anyways, texted my husband. He calmed me down a little bit. And I'm trying to schedule a different doctor's appointment on that day that I was originally going to schedule so I could put them both on one day, and I just forgot. But there's 2 different offices I can go to for that, and they're both, it's not 1 o'clock yet. It's 12:57. They're both closed for lunch. So maybe that'll work out, and if not, I'll just go to the clay studio. Which I just remembered 2 minutes ago that I could do that, but yeah. Anyways, I still need to prepare for a sub. I only have 10 minutes left right now, and I still need to prepare for my sub on Monday, and I need to prepare for everything for Tuesday, and have a meeting after school for department chair meeting, our first department chair meeting since the school year started. They had one before school started, but I wasn't a department chair then. So that's exciting. I'm very disappointed that didn't work out on Monday, and that it's not going to work out. But the big thing, since it was so cheap, I wanted to get all of the information that they had to say, all the data. But the big thing I really wanted to get out of all of this, because I know my running strides are fine, but the big thing I wanted to get out of all of this was shoes. But there are places that sell shoes that you can go to. I know a couple running stores I could go to and get assessed for shoes. So, yeah. Maybe I'll do that on Monday too. Yeah, I'll do that on Monday. Okay. I'm gonna go do something, and yeah. Okay, y'all. It is 5:40, and I want to leave by 6, and I haven't done anything but one thing since school ended at 4. I got caught up. I was walking to the office, dropping off one of my kids' backpacks that he left in my room, and I passed by the nurse's office, who I'm good friends with, and she was talking with our other friend, and so I snuck in, and we were talking for an hour and a half-ish, and it's a good conversation. I missed lunch with them today, so that was nice. Nice to get caught up on the gossip, and I need to get stuff done. Well, people kept telling me to not stay till 7. It's 6:57, so that counts. And the birds are really loud. And I got totally ready for Monday. And I thought through Tuesday real fast, and it didn't take me that long. And I sent myself a couple emails with notes. And I think I'm going to be good to go. I'll just have to make sure to get her at my normal time at 7 on Tuesday, which I should already do. So yeah, I'm going to go home and enjoy this weekend. See you later.